What's up, y'all? It's me, it's your boy, Power, Love, Self, or Die. And I'm coming back at you with this real talk. And I want to talk about Moores Ford Massacre. Activists reenact racist lynching as a call for justice. Because this happened 70 years ago, and the people of the massacre still haven't had any justice. Since 2005, civil rights activists have returned to Monroe, Georgia to react an unsolved mass lynching from 1946. And this was on the news. This was on the news. The reenactment takes place on the same bridge where the crime was committed. And I'm just telling y'all that we speak about the things that's happening today and the justice that we not getting today. But the justice that we haven't been getting over 70 years ago and way before that, as we know. We can go up to 400 years at least. We haven't been getting no justice here on this soil. But I think this was very interesting because it was on the NBC News and it was posted today. We can talk about all of this. We can talk about all the stuff that happens on Yahoo and all the things that goes on and with all the chaos and everything that goes on with our people. But when we look at the history of our people, our color, our black men and women, when we look at the history of our people, we look at what we've been dealing with since then. We've been terrorized. We've been lynched. I mean, the whole nine. So when I look at how we're acting today, I have to go back and say that the way that we're being treated, the way that we're being segregated, even though some people can't see it, it's like we have our reasons for acting the way we act today. Because today we're having a modern day lynching. It has the rope that you can't see, but it's gotten so far out of hand, they got the guns that you can see, and they're using them, and they're shooting our children. They're killing our fathers, choking them. They're doing all that they can do to keep blacks in order. You know what I'm saying? And let alone, they never gave us an order. They only gave us lynching and terror. That's all they gave us. They had an order set for them, the rulers of this country. And some of us only thought to try to follow that. But then some of us thought to follow our own. And until we found out that our ancestors was in Africa, then that's when some of us awakened to have our own following. This lynching was the last opening lynching in America that's been unsolved. And my thing is, okay, these guys now is probably 70 years old and so on, the guys who did the lynching, and some of them may be dead. But who shall be held accountable for this shit? Somebody. It says, a 1948 Ford Mercury passed through a group of onlookers in rural Monroe, Georgia, and rumbled toward the small Moores Ford Bridge. Before the car, which had 4 black passengers and a white driver, could reach the bridge, a group of white men with guns stepped forward to block its path. The leader of the mob, a middle-aged man in a pinstripe suit, took a long drag of his cigar and peered through the windshield. Inside, the occupants reeled in fear. "We want that nigger Roger," the man barked. "Get him out of the car." Screams ripped through the silence as the young black man was dragged from the passenger seat. Unfortunately, the horrific scene, which played out on July the 22nd, is just a reenactment. But when a noose is thrown around the neck of Roger, nearly everyone in the audience let out a very real gasp. Since 2005, civil rights activists have returned to the Moores Ford Bridge to recreate the night two black couples, Roger and Dorothy Malcolm and George and May Murray Dorsey, were lynched by the Ku Klux Klan in 1946. No one has ever been charged with the murders. It's mind-boggling that all of these years, not a single person has been arrested, even though we see them in our communities, even though we know who they are, said Tyrone Brooks, who helps organize the reenactment. It's a stain on history, but it's a burden on our souls. So they saying that these dudes are still around. Brooks is 71-year-old former Georgia state congressman and long life civil rights activist. For him, the reenactment serves as a dramatic call to action and an annual reminder to the Monroe community that an injustice has never been corrected. Never been. And if you ask me, today injustice ain't been corrected for some of the young men who have died from strangling. We want prosecution, we want closure, we want healing, we want reconciliation, but we have to have justice first. He said, we can't get to healing and reconciliation until we get justice. According to the FBI files obtained by the NBC News, more than 50 men from Monroe and the surrounding countries were suspect in the lynching, but not one was ever prosecuted. Wow. Though the suspects had remained at large for decades, civil rights activists say the twin motivations for the lynchings were always well known throughout the town: politics and sex. So, I'll let y'all read on through the story, man. You know what I'm saying? I have a picture here where the victims was lynched at. And man, it's just terrifying that you could be lynched. And never get no justice. But it reminds me of today. Man, peace, power, and love, man. Y'all need to check that out. Moores Ford Massacre, activist reenactment, racist lynching as a call for justice.